All right, y'all, what's going on? It's Combo Breaker 99. I am back with another video. All right, y'all, back with this video here. I've been wanting to talk about this earlier this week, but like I said, y'all know the deal about now. I don't even have to explain it now, right? If I'm a little delayed, y'all know what's going on. But yeah, this is a topic that I wanted to come back to and discuss because I had a few subscribers ask me this question about Tatiana Suarez after her fight. And like I said, I wanted to jump on it right then because some people wanted to know a couple of questions about Tatiana Suarez, which, of course, I was curious myself, you know. So, yeah, the questions were, after looking at her performance, you know, this past Saturday, do I think or can Tatiana be champion again? Do I think she can be champion again? Can she be champion again? And if so, will it be at 125 or 115? Those are the questions they asked. Well, first off, I got to say, can she be champion again? The answer to that question, I think so. I think she can. I think we've seen this past Saturday that she still has those natural abilities, those ones that I wanted to see. She had the want, the hunger, the kill factor, that dominance about her, you know, that you used to see in her early fights. You know, she really goes after it. You know, I know we still need to see where she's at as far as evolving. You know, where she's evolving at. But I think Suarez knows herself that the sport is growing and she has to work on more attacks and more dimensions to her, you know, to her overall arsenal. You know, she needs to add more to her arsenal to be champion. So I think that's stuff that she's working on. So she's definitely working on her stand-up. You know, her stand-up is something that she is trying to improve on. You know, someone who likes to think like a champion, you know, they would know that they can't just present one skill forever. You know, the game is evolving. So much like Valentina, somebody that's always trying to grow in every area, I'm sure Tatiana Suarez knows that after 4 years of passing, you know, since being out of the game, that she's going to have to add more to her arsenal. It's going to have to be more than just being this big physical wrestler that we know her for, right? So right now, I think, you know, she just wanted to really get back in the mix and she just wants to win. And, you know, just like a fighter, you know, she wants to go in there and make a big statement, right? Somebody that wants to be champion one day. And I think, you know, she definitely can be champion because she still talks with that mindset. You know, she still has those goals of being a champion and defending her belt. You know, she's like, oh, you know, I want to win the belt. I want to defend it multiple times. I'm not really worried about being the double champion. I want to hold the belt and be dominant, right? And that sounds like someone who doesn't just want to fight or just touch the belt. She wants to own the division. So she knows what she needs to do to get better as a fighter. So I think that with that being said, she is that type of fighter, I think, that can still gain the belt. You know, even after this long inactivity, she knows what she has to do. But the real question is, which division can she be champion in? 125 or 115? And I think we all know the answer to that, you know, just kind of going by her mindset and where she wants to go and where her style kind of plays best at. But let's look at 125 first, since, you know, that's where she made her return. 125, it could be possible for her to climb the ladder, you know, get maybe like top 10, possibly top 5, but getting the belt at 125 is definitely going to be harder. You know, 125 is a division filled with much bigger women. You know, it's a grappler heavy division. You got a lot of solid grapplers and fighters working towards being well-rounded. You know, I can name a few, like at least 4 or 5 fighters that have multi dimensions to them that could give somebody like Tatiana Suarez trouble. You know, combine that with their size, right? You know, fighters like Aaron Blanchfield, fighters like Manon, you know, I'm going to talk a little bit more about them, you know, as I go on later in this video. But yeah, fighters like that, even at the bottom, like Andrea Lee, you know, they have a little bit more to their game that would give somebody trouble like Tatiana Suarez. Then you got to remember, some of the fighters, they could actually be bantamweights too. You know, some of these fighters, they could be bantamweights. So this just wouldn't be a division where she can muscle through the ladies. You know, she's just not going to be all physical against these type of fighters. She would have to have more in her arsenal at this point. So that's definitely where she has to improve, because fighters are going to have better jabs in this division, harder jabs, stronger jabs, better clinch technique, better takedown defense than usual. So that's something she's going to have to look at. And I'm just thinking of the bottom half right now. I'm just thinking of the bottom half and even some of the other unranked fighters. So Suarez, she'd really have to be prepared with more than just her strength and her wrestling. Much like O'Neal, Blanchfield, and Barber, they all at some point had to bite down and work on their weaknesses to be able to rise up, right? Especially fighters like Blanchfield, in the matter of a few fights, she really did improve with her jab and her stand-up, even in her Invicta days. You see Barber improving in her clinch game. And you see a fighter like Casey O'Neal, still got a lot of work to do, but she's actually working on her stand-up as well, to get fights to the ground and just, add more to her arsenal. And that is a fighter that Tatiana is training with, so maybe some of that will rub off on her, right? But yeah, Tatiana, she definitely is someone I think can actually evolve like some of these other fighters because of her mentality. Being in this division and knowing what she'd be up against, I think it'll definitely force her to grow. But part of being a good, a plus side, I think, of her staying at flyweight would be at 32. I think that the weight would suit her. She's voiced being stronger at this weight and her conditioning being great. So I think if she did stay at this weight, she could possibly be champion, because I think maybe it would kind of go hand in hand, with her size, her natural, just her being naturally bigger than a lot of the strawweights, just being a naturally bigger woman. I think at this age, it would kind of fit her body. So you would see her be a lot more durable and, have more stamina. And if you combine that with better skills, then she definitely could climb the rankings. But when I think of that current top three, I just don't see her getting by them right now, and I'm not just talking about a favoritism thing, because y'all know I'm high on Tatiana. Tatiana been rocking with her since way back. But when I look at this top three and fighters like Tyler Santos, Manon Fiorot, and Aaron Blanchfield, they're just too active, too strong, and too well-rounded right now. They have, they have those tools right now. And whenever she steps up her game, I believe, to stop her from getting to that belt. So, I think those are the naturally bigger fighters that are just well-rounded that would give her trouble. So even if she did get to that weight and feel comfortable at 125, stayed and improved, I think that they would be her roadblocks. Maybe she could probably get by them, though. You never know, because Tatiana, like I said, does have that champion mindset, likes to go after it. But just looking at the rankings too, like, let's look at 125. Like even before she got to those fighters like Manon, Santos, and Blanchfield, there's some other fighters out here that could give her trouble. There's some fighters that could give her trouble, and there's some that she could probably beat. Like, let's see. Look, just randomly looking at the top 15, you got Andrea Lee. Andrea Lee is a fighter I think she could beat, but she would have to worry about the kickboxing. She would have to worry about being able to counter the judo of a fighter like Andrea Lee. Andrea Lee has good jiu-jitsu. She could be dangerous on the ground. Kickboxing, good head kicks. She was able to rock Viviane Araújo with a few shots because she was wide open. But eventually, I could see somebody like Tatiana being able to overpower her, because she's just so much stronger, so much more committed than Andrea Lee. Like, Andrea Lee has all these tools, but sometimes she'll just wither away in a fight and kind of give it away. So that would be competitive up to a certain extent, but I could see her winning that. Jennifer Maia is another one. A lot of tools, great on the ground, physical strength, but sometimes she'll just let up. Her IQ won't hold up, but it's still a competitive fight. Amanda Ibas, I think that's a fight that Tatiana could win. The jiu-jitsu of Ibas would be dangerous, though. The jab is good of Ibas, but I could still see her winning that fight. Alexa Grasso revisited. Would that be a winnable fight for Suarez at 125? I could see Suarez winning that fight still, but don't get it twisted. I think Grasso's gotten stronger on the ground, but strong Tatiana at 125 still might overpower Grasso. I'm gonna just be real. All right, Araújo, I could see her winning that fight. I think she could win that fight because, I think she has more stamina, and I think she definitely has more in the tank than Araújo in certain situations. Lauren Murphy, that's a winnable fight. That's kind of like Lauren Murphy's kryptonite. Fellow big fighters and strong fighters. Chikagan could be a difficult fight, but it's a possible win for her. But it's that top three and, of course, the champion that I think would be really, really hard for Tatiana Suarez to get by. But who knows, man, if she evolves, like I said, and if she feels great at this weight, which, like I said, would be the plus for her at this point in this age, you never know what could happen. You never know what could happen. So overall, I think that it'd be a real hard road for her. I think the highest I think she could get would probably be like top 5 or top 3, in all reality for Tatiana Suarez at 125. 115, yeah, better chances. Definitely. She definitely has better chances at 115. I think her style here dominates certain ladies, and her size, it'll still always be a big factor for the strawweights, even though they have evolved. But yeah, knowing that they evolved, it won't be as easy as 2018. But I think she could still make it to the title shot quicker here. Suarez has already been put in at number 13, which is kind of crazy, right? I mean, again, love Suarez, but how she got a number 13 spot off of a win over an unranked flyweight, I don't know. Has nothing to do with her, just the whole ranking system, right? So if she is matched up against some of the right fighters anywhere in between 1 and 10, I can see her working her way through some of these contenders, getting some dominant victories, getting better as a fighter along the way. And by the time she gets to the champion, she will be ready, right? By the time she gets to Zhang Weili or Amanda Lemos, whoever's champion by the time she gets there, I think she'll be ready for that. Right now, the fighters that she'll be dealing with, they're great strikers, but they are developing ground skills and takedown defense, so there's a lot of fighters that I think could make it competitive, but eventually she could get through them. Some of the fighters like Yan Xiaonan and Marina Rodriguez, I know she's still working on her ground defense, her takedown defense. So you got those type of fighters. Then you got a fighter like Dern, who's kind of like the opposite. She's good on the ground, but she needs to work on her striking, right? So, yeah, if she continues to pressure her way in or even mix in the kickboxing that she's, been developing, I think she definitely think I won't say an easier road, but a much clearer path to get to the belt. All of this is good as long as, well, first off, look, I'm just kind of looking at the rankings right now. First off, you got to look at some of these fighters here who have like physical oriented styles, like the Andrades, and I think girls with size like Yan Xiaonan, they could be some problems, once they really learn how to, well, for Yan Xiaonan here, she really knows how to use her physicality and knows how to mix in her jiu-jitsu and her wrestling and grappling and put it all together. So fighters like that could be trouble for Suarez to a certain extent, right? So, yeah, just looking at that, all of that spells clear path to the belt, but that's only if the weight is never an issue at this point. Because let's face it, Tatiana Suarez, she's 32 years old. She's never been a small strawweight. And let's be honest, she looked the part of a 125er in her last fight, right? She really looked filled out. She looked strong, and her body looked like that's where it needed to be, right? So strawweight is still a question. Can she make that weight consecutive times now that she's 32 years old and it's been this long that she's been away, right? Her first fight back at 115 is really going to tell us a lot. How well her conditioning is going to be, her body, her chin as well. Will her chin be weaker or will it be strong enough to hold up against some of these hard hitters like before? Because when or if you face somebody like Jessica Andrade or Weili or even Rose, they could capitalize off a weak drained Suarez. Let's be real. Andrade will be on you. Weili will definitely be on you. And somebody like Rose, with her accuracy, if she checks that chin, that could be a wrap. So, yeah, that's something I'm just looking at. I know before she's always said she felt good at 115. That's why she always wanted to, continue her path at 115. But she's always felt stronger and felt great at 125, right? Because the weight cut's not as harsh and her tank was much more in line. She could keep going, and she like she said, she tosses around some stronger opponents like some men out there. So when she cuts down to at least 125, even in the training camp, she knows her body and she knows how well she feels. But when she hits that 115, it's like, I feel good, but 125 could be better, right? So I guess if the fighters do get better and she has rough weight cuts at 125 at the age of 32, that could be rough, right? So we'll see, man. We'll see how it works out. We'll see how it works out now that she's in her 30s. Hopefully, she can continue on that path. But let's look at the rankings here real quick. Let's look at the rankings and just kind of, play matchmaker for Tatiana Suarez, because like I said, a big part of getting to the title shot is who they match you up with as well. And how fast you get there is also dependent on who they match you up with, right? Because I talked about Mackenzie Dern like that, how she got into the top 5 quick, right? Because some fighters were out, and the right matchmaking, the right style matches, it can get you there, right? So right now she's number 13, right? So if they give her a top 10, she'll be probably getting a pretty high level fighter up there, because number 9 is Amanda Ebos right now, right? And she's at flyweight, so we don't have to worry about her. Tisha Torres is pregnant, so the 8 and 9 are out of the way. So that pretty okay. And Mackenzie Dern is taking on Angela Hill right now, and she's number 7. And Yan Xiaonan is taking on Andrade now at the time of the recording of this video. She's number 6. Berna Jendrova is taking on the number 5 Marina Rodriguez, and number 4 is taking on who's Andrade. More than likely, Amanda Lemos is taking on Wei Li. Number 2 is Rose Namajunas, who's injured. And, of course, number 1 is Carla Esparza, which we know that fight's definitely not going to happen. Even if it is the number 1, it could get Suarez there, because Suarez already said, I don't want to fight her again, because if I do, I'm going to catch a case, right? And we all know, going by what she's saying now, okay, I'll admit that is a mismatch. If she feels that way, and we saw what she did, and she doesn't want to do it again, she knows what she did was wrong, and she could catch a case, all right? So I agree with that. So everybody's pretty much taken, or they're out, or they're injured, or pregnant. So actually right now, it looks like Tatiana might have to fight down, because Waterson's taken, Angela Hill's taken. Everybody above her is taken right now. So Tatiana is either going to have to fight an unranked fighter, or just sit the sideline and wait. Just sit the sideline and wait, and maybe get her body adjusted back down to 115, right? Take the next few months off. Not off, but take the next few months of, just changing up her diet, getting the right nutritionist to get back down, kind of like Macy Barber's doing, watching her carbs and everything, and, waiting the next 3 or 4 months for the winner of one of these fights, So nobody's lined up now, but let's just go ahead and say that she could fight the winner of Dern Hill or Yan Xiaonan Andrade, because if that fight wasn't happening, I would say she could fight Andrade, So those are all fights that she's going to be waiting for. Rodriguez, Jendrova winner, and so on, But just matching her up with any of those fighters, I think she has good chances. Mackenzie Dern, very dangerous on the ground. Her jiu-jitsu would probably be a problem, so Suarez couldn't be reckless. I think Suarez's footwork is a little bit better, as far as her balance when it comes to her stand-up. Yes, you can disagree with me on that, but honestly, I think that Suarez throws better kicks. I need to see a little bit more with her hands, but I think that her balance and her angles, in her stance are a little bit better than Mackenzie Dern. Sometimes Mackenzie Dern looks like she's about to trip over her own feet. She closes her eyes. So that could be a fight where Suarez works on her striking. I could see her winning that fight on the feet. If she didn't want to take it to the ground and risk getting submitted, she could make that adjustment and show us a stand-up level in the Dern's fight. Hey, I'm just saying. Yan could be a tough fight, because Yan's evolving. But I could see eventually Yan being mauled and, taken down and being stopped. If Carla Esparza could hold her down, even with this evolved Yan Xiaonan, I think that Suarez could do it, okay? And Marina, love Marina Rodriguez, but being taken down by Suarez, I could see it, and she's very physical. So I'm not sure if she could survive like she did against Dern, because Dern's looking for submission, Tatiana's looking for position and demolition, right? She's looking to destroy, so she's going to be doing all she can to destroy somebody that's a little bit thinner like Marina. Not Rodriguez, but Andrade, I can see her winning that fight. Andrade, that's a winnable fight. As long as she don't get caught, I think she can control her on the ground. Get Andrade on her back, or get the back of Andrade, and she could submit her TKO her. I think it really gets tough and questionable when you get to like Wei Li, Lemos, and Rose. Those fights are pretty tough for her. I could see her winning the Rose fight, though. Rose would probably have trouble with a physical fighter, but you never know how that footwork and that jab will play in from Rose. Let's say a healthy Rose, healthy, focused Rose, though. But we don't know if we'll ever see that again, right? So, yeah, I could definitely see Tatiana making it up to the top. Let's say if they gave her 2 or 3 fights, probably 2. Let's say 2. She's number 13 now. I could see her winning against the Dern Hill winner, Andrade Janjanan. I could see her winning those 2 fights. And then let's say, boom, she gets to the top and she gets lined up against the Weili versus Lemos winner. Boom, she's there, right? So I think her path is much clearer. Like the top 3, I don't really see any of them like causing her too many problems. Like the top 3 at 125, again, those flyweights are much bigger, stronger, and well-rounded, much better on the feet too. So fighters like, Manon, Santos, they would give her all types of trouble before she could get to that belt. But here, I could see her beating the Rose, even Andrade or Lemos. I could see that happening. Lemos would probably be her toughest one, I think, style-wise. I think Lemos might have some, moments in there where she could counterpunch and land well. But out of those 3, I think, yeah, she could get by them before the 125ers. So, yeah, if that answers your question, I wanted to just kind of break it down as a discussion video. Shout out to subscribers that asked me about it. Yeah, I think Tatiana Suarez can definitely get that belt or be champion, but it's probably going to be a strawweight, as long as the weight holds up. It's kind of a vice versa thing, at 125, that her weight would be suited well for her body, but, the tools would have to be there. The fighters are much more, well-rounded, and they would be much more ready for her style. They would be hip to her game there, right? And at 115, it's the flip side to it, right? The weight might be an issue with her at this point at her age, but her style plays in better against the strawweights, right? But if she can do it, 115 is where she'll probably be champion, or not again, but that's probably where she'll be champion finally after this, this long road for her. But yeah, that's all I got on this, guys. Yeah, I just wanted to kind of turn it into a little discussion because I was looking at the rankings and just looking at the possibilities of Tatiana Suarez right now, because she's been gone for so long. But yeah, that's what I think. 115 is probably where she could touch the belt if her weight holds up. Let me know, guys, what y'all think. Combo Breaker 99.